Lately, I've been feeling a bit burnt out on modern games. That may sound a bit weird, but one thing I love about retro gaming is how simple the games are. I feel like every modern game I play lately is made with either speedrunners or esports players or masochists, aka Soulsborne fans in mind. I don't have a problem with that, it's just that sometimes I want a simple experience, which is what leads me to today's topic. A relatively new indie 3D platformer game called Frogun. Frogun stars Renata, a young girl who is trying to save her parents after they went missing on an expedition. Like I said, this game is super simple, and the story reflects that fairly well to me. I think overall the story is fairly well told, never felt obtrusive, and I love how during stages you could find pages from your parents' journal and hear what they went through in that stage. It's a good way to flesh the story out without being a massive story dump, and since they're optional collectibles, you can just skip them if you feel like they're bogging down the experience. Moving on to the gameplay side of things, that's where this game gets a bit more interesting. Renata has a frog gun equipped that basically acts as a grappling hook in the sense that if you shoot it, it takes you where it lands. It also serves as your main attack, as if you shoot it at a smaller enemy or pots, it will grab them, and then you can throw them at larger enemies and bosses to damage them. She also has a jump because, well, this is a 3D platformer, and that's kind of essential in this style of game. That's it though, Renata has no other moves or attacks that she uses throughout the game, which gets back to what I was saying about this game. It's very simple. That being said, the titular frog gun isn't perfect with its movement. My biggest complaint with it, oddly enough, is that if you shoot it at a platform's ledge, Renata won't pull herself up. This leads to a lot of deaths where you shoot the frog gun, hit a platform's edge, and fall to your death. It can be really annoying, especially when you have just completed a series of tough jumps. Another problem with the frog gun is how oddly inaccurate it can feel. That might sound a bit odd, but think of it like this. Renata has full 360 movement while playing with the analog sticks, so sometimes things just don't line up how they should. It's one of the reasons why I prefer this game with the D-pad. Using the D-pad makes lining up shots and landing on platforms just easier, as D-pads are better with precise movements than thumbsticks. I do want to point out that if you hold the X button, then you will get a reticle for the frog gun. Renata will stop moving around as well. The problem is that there are quite a bit of falling platforms in this game, so you don't really have the time to just stop and line up your shots all the time. Trust me, using the D-pad really is the best option for this game, at least in my opinion. Next, I want to mention how clunky the jump can feel. Renata definitely has some weight behind her jump, and it can take a while to get used to it. It's definitely not bad or anything, it just will take you a level or two to adjust to it if you're used to fast and snappy jumps from stuff like the Mario games. Lastly, I want to talk about the camera as well, as I'm super mixed on it. On the one hand, I think for this style of game, it works very well. Having a wide-angle lens available to you would likely be a hindrance to you. However, there was way more than one occasion where I just could not get this thing placed just right, and it made platforming way harder than it needed to be. I think the camera is probably the best it could be, but I'm stunned the devs didn't add in the shadow technique from Super Mario Sunshine. Being able to see a silhouette of Renata when she is behind a rock, like how you could see Mario and Mario Sunshine, would really help the camera issues out in this game a ton. One big thing that I love about this game is the art style though. It's got that Nintendo 64 style in spades and looks amazing to me because of it. I know it at least really helps the game stand out a lot more to me because, well, that is what interested me in the title a lot in the first place. Don't get me wrong, this isn't going to win any awards for graphical fidelity or anything, but it's got a great style that makes jumping around a lot of fun. I also like how unapologetically cute and goofy this game is. Like, look at this boss, he's a spider with boxers on. Come on, what a goof. goober. Renata is also super goofy and cute. Whenever she gets hurt, she'll say things like why or how, or maybe it's supposed to be ow? I don't know, it just sounds funny to me. Overall, I think Frogun is a fairly good, simple 3D platformer with a few problems. It may not work or appeal to everyone out there, but for me, it was just the right game at the right time to give me a nice break. I rated a 7.5 out of 10. It could have been better, but for what it is, it's a fairly good experience with a few problems. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button down below, hitting the subscribe button for updates on my next uploads, and if you have a game you want to see me talk about, leave a comment down below, as suggestions are always welcome. Until next time, you guys, peace.